teams that will be playing this week in Singapore. And first up, we'll actually check out Group C. And just like last week, we're going to turn to you guys in order to help us pick a slightly more exciting name for the group.
But you mean Group C doesn't convey any sense of ferocity or anything close here?
No.
Oh, well, luckily you guys came out in force on Twitter with plenty of suggestions that capture the epicness of the group. And those range from C is for craziness to OMG WTF, and then my favorite, Bloodbath and Beyond.
Yeah, well, a lot of you are referring to Group C as the group of death. At best, Rollock sent in Mid Lane Madness, which we actually think fits rather nicely, and we'll explain why a little later. Let's take a look at the 4 teams in the group. First is the number 2 team from the European LCS, it's Fnatic, along with the number 1 team from Korea, Samsung Blue.
Next is the number 3 squad from the North American LCS, LMQ, and finally the number 3 team from China's LPL, OMG.
So we'll start with the number 3 team from the North American LCS. It's LMQ. And now, Phreak, you've actually watched these guys play all year long. What do you think about the team and the chances at Worlds?
Honestly, LMQ are very good, and I actually love their story. It's kind of the American dream. They moved to America from China, brand new lineup. They started in the Challenger Series, and they absolutely dominated the Challenger Series from start to finish. They won basically everything you could have, qualified for the LCS, stayed top 2 in the LCS the entire season, and then made it to the playoffs. And aside from one 5-game loss to TSM, steamrolled through the playoffs, looked great there, number 3 seed overall, an incredibly good lineup. And let's actually take a look at that starting 5. In the top lane is Ackerman. Last year, he was known as Godlike on Royal Club, was a finalist at the World Championship last year. The jungler is No Name, he's the primary shot caller. Mid laner Xiao Wei Xiao. AD carries Vasily, and supporting is Moore.
Yeah, and I think when you look at this lineup, there has to be, some emphasis and focus on Xiao Wei Xiao. I think he did a really good job in the NALCS. And Crepo, what's your take on this player?
See, when I initially thought about Xiao Wei Xiao, I thought a very passive mid laner that goes for farm, has a really high GPM as well. You look at the stats right there on your screen, a lot of gold, the highest in the NALCS. But then if you look at his kills, apparently he has like 114 kills, which is also higher, and it's a lot higher than I expected. However, I can see that happening because I remember playing against them, and they would basically, once he came out of farm mode, they would switch him to the bottom lane and let him play assassins, like LeBlanc back in the day, and let him use rack up kills that way. So I'm looking forward if LMQ is going to repeat that with the resurgence of the assassin metagame.
We'll have to see if he can get his hands on it. Somebody else who picks up a lot of kills is Vasily. Probably the most aggressive AD carry in North America. Doublelift, yes or no, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when Vasily came to North America, he just kind of exploded onto the AD carry scene. Everyone kind of looked up to him for laning. And if I had to describe him in 2 words, unrelenting aggression. This guy never stops fighting, never stops moving forward. So his style is very unique, and I feel like he helped the NA AD carries kind of progress into a more aggressive and less farm-reliant style.
All right, next up, it is the number 2 seed from the European LCS. It's Fnatic. Fnatic is going to be one of the most recognized teams in the Western scene. They were the Season 1 World Champions, and then when the LCS started, they won the first 3 European splits back to back to back. In the midst of all that, they also had a semi-final placement during last year's World Championship. I think there's a lot of pedigree in this roster, and there's even more expectation on their shoulders coming into this World Championship.
Oh, absolutely. Fnatic started out the last World Championship with a bang. They dropped 1 game during the group stage, including beating out big titans like Gambit or Samsung Ozone, now Samsung White this year around. They took out Cloud9 in the quarterfinals. They finally did lose to a Royal Club in the semis, but that's still a top 4 at Worlds, which is incredibly impressive. Now they're back at Worlds for the 3rd time as a team. They've got a new AD carry and Reckless. It's a pretty incredible lineup. Let's actually check out their 5 starters here. In the top laner, Soaz, a great Frenchman there. He's known for all kinds of crazy things top lane. Some good, some bad. We'll see if it works out for him. Cyanide, one of the players who's been with Fnatic since Season 1. Peke also the same in the mid lane there, been with the roster the whole time. Reckless, the new guy this year on AD carry, and Yellowstar, his 4th trip to Worlds, twice as AD carry, twice as support.
Yeah, talking about players who've been around the scene a long time, Peke himself, Season 1 World Champion. He's been playing for an extended period of time, and this is a guy I think everybody's going to be looking at the World Championship. He was famous for that Kassadin backdoor where he managed to take down SK's Nexus. I've had the pleasure of casting him, and he's got an incredibly deep champion pool with an immense amount of skill on a massive array of champions. We'll see if he can pull it out. The only question is it going to be better than Gamescom? Because he was looking a little shaky at the European Regional Playoffs. Reckless is a player I want to talk about, but I want to ask Crepo your opinion on Reckless, because you've known him for quite a while, actually.
Yeah, I really like Reckless a lot. He's like a little brother to me. I've helped him a lot with stuff here and there, and I was so happy that he could finally got into LCS and basically show the world how good of a player he is. if I recall correctly, he tied the record for most kills with ManCloud, but at the same time, he had the very least amount of deaths, and he got that award at Gamescom for it as well. And it's just impressive how few times he dies, how well he positions. People always call him like, you know, he farms too much, he doesn't help his team enough, but getting those stats in an entire split is very impressive, and I'm definitely looking forward to how his laning phase will go together with Bora, and because I played against them and they were pretty damn good in lane.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how he has grown. Reckless has been quite outspoken about doing better in some of these weak areas. Now let's send it halfway around the globe to Joshua Jat Leesman, who's hanging out with two players, Fnatic's Xpeke and Cyanide, and they'll be wearing their new Season 1 championship rings during this year's Worlds.
Thank you very much, QuickShot, and I'm joined here by Peke and Cyanide from the Season 1 World Championship Fnatic team. You guys actually just recently received your World Championship rings. Talk to me about kind of what that means.
First of all, the ring is pretty cool, obviously, and I don't know, I got really excited when they told us that we would actually get the ring, because I never expected the ring, I never really care about the ring, but it's super cool to have something that in the future you can look at and save it in your stand or something and look at it and be like, that means something, you know? It's better than know that you want it, you can actually look and see something that reminds you of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cyanide, along with the ring, you guys also are getting some championship skins. Are there anything you're particularly going to want to play?
Well, obviously Javan, since it's like my skin. But yeah, I remember when like Season 2, I was super jelly, like TPA was getting like rings and skins and stuff. Like obviously it wasn't as big in Season 1, but I find it really cool that Riot made us the skins anyway and gave us the rings at some point.
And with that second place finish in Europe, you guys were drawn into Group C, which many people have coined the group of death. Every team in that group at some point was considered the strongest team in the region. Cyanide, how do you see that group just being so strong?
Yeah, like I think all the teams have potential to be really good, and so we will see if actually all the teams, like obviously Blue is going to be incredibly strong already, and then OMG and LMQ, we will see about them, but I think if they train really hard and they are in their top form, it's going to be even really hard to defeat them.
Obviously watching so much of Group A and B, and then prepping so much for your own group, knowing a little bit about Group D, if you had to just choose one team at Worlds that you'd want to play against the most, who would it be and why?
Well, I would like to say White because they're so good, but I think it would be really hard to beat them because they're just so damn good.
We would like to play White at the finals, let's say it like that.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. With all that though, winning the Season 1 World Championship, semifinals in Season 3, what would it mean to you guys to actually win the World Championship this year?
Well, I don't know, it would be just crazy compared to, like last year already, we were so happy that we made it to semifinal, because at least for me it's about performing good, because once you perform your best, if the other team does better, you feel a bit bad, but you don't feel bad in the sense that you are like, if I played a bit better, if we trained a bit more, we could have won. So for me the goal is to try to give our best, and after the game don't have a bad flavor that you could have done better. That's the goal, and of course if you win and you play your best, I think it's just the feeling, at the moment you win, you don't even think about it. It's completely crazy, the excitement you get. So.
Well, for me last year, I was a bit disappointed after we lost, like obviously, but I was also really happy since we made it really far and we beat NA, so that's what it really matters, but just kidding. But still, yeah, I was really happy we made it so far, but I would have desired to go even to the finals and play there on the big stadium.
Thank you very much, Peke and Cyanide. It was great talking to you guys. For now, though, we're going to send it back to QuickShot and the guys at the analyst desk to talk more about Group C.
Thank you very much, Jat. Those rings certainly look awesome. On the topic of the Fnatic skins, you guys at home will be able to pick those up very, very soon. So at the very least, you can look like one of the pros while you're playing. I want to keep this tour of Group C on the road. So let's take a look at the #1 team from Korea. It is Samsung Blue. 2014 saw Dade transition from their sister team to mid laner for Blue. And this really did usher in a year of dominance for the #1 seed.
It absolutely did. Once Dade joined Samsung Blue, the team went on an absolute tear through 2014. They won Champion Spring, they took second place in Champion Summer. This gave Blue enough circuit points to earn that team the #1 seed from Korea heading into the World Championship. Obviously an incredible group of 5. Let's check out their starting roster now. In the top lane is Acorn, in the jungle is Spirit, in the mid lane is Dade, that new guy. At the AD carry is Deft, many call him the best in the world, and supporting is Heart.
Yeah, and I think talking about the transition mid laner, you have to ask questions about Dade. He was the player in my mind that really cost his team Worlds last year in the group stages. And Monty, Dade has a lot of hype once again coming into Worlds. What's your take?
Yeah, I wonder too, is Name the Dade of this year, this very dominant player who comes in and kind of chokes at Worlds? We'll see in the quarterfinals. But Dade, I mean, we look at this guy, he has been in all of the finals this entire year, winter, spring, and summer, on 2 different teams. So we're really looking at a very consistent, very dominant player, and I can't wait to see him this year. I think he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder after what happened last year, and I think he's eager to prove himself.
Yeah.
And if we talk about Dade too, we look at his team fighting skills, right? He's not the most dominant player in lane, and like Dade, it's about depth on the team as well. Another player not so dominant in the laning phase, but incredible in terms of positioning in those team fights, and man, is this guy good at kind of skill shot AD carries. So really excited to see him moving forward, and looking forward to those 5v5 and Siege comps from Samsung Blue that I know so well.
Deft is also like the ultimate skill shot dodger. His sidesteps are like very Faker-esque, if not even better. It's amazing to watch him operate in fights and just slightly step a little to the left, a little to the right, and just continue to like wreak havoc.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to keep our eyes on Def to see how many skill shots he can dodge when we get to the games. But before that, we've got one more team to talk about in this group, and that brings us to the number 3 seed from the China's LPL. It is OMG. OMG have actually had a very strong year in the LPL. After making some name changes to their players and positional swaps at the beginning of the season, they have consistently finished in the top 3 of the LPL throughout 2014 and took 3rd place at the Chinese regionals to earn their trip to Worlds.
And this is the 2nd Worlds trip in a row for OMG. Last year, they went beast mode of the group stage. They only dropped a single game, including going 1-1 against SK Telecom T1K, who also demolished everyone, and they actually won the whole World Championship. So in the quarterfinals, though, OMG, their run was cut short. They got taken out by fellow LPL team Royal Club, who went to the finals themselves. So they've only lost to the best teams in the world that year. But we're going to see if OMG can reverse their fortune and do even better this time and this year. In the top lane is Going. In the jungle is Loveling, formerly known as Drug, Allen, or Loveland. In the mid lane is Cool. At the AD carry is San. And supporting is Dada777, also known as Coma last year.
Well, let's keep things a little bit frosty and talk about OMG's mid laner Cool. Doublelift, what's your take on this player and his style?
Well, I really like to play with him at All-Stars. He was a really nice guy. He's also a very violent guy with 168 kills in the LPL regular season, the most of any mid laner. Then he played at LPL playoffs, 3rd place. Doesn't mean he won every game. He obviously lost a ton. He's still the led kills in the LPL playoffs of any position, any player. This guy's extremely good. He's the playmaking, considered the best mid laner in China for his playmaking ability. Obviously, super bloodthirsty guy. I'm looking forward to see him play.
He's been actually just incredible. And one guy I got to talk about as well, this team is pretty solo lane focused. It's their top laner Going. He's just been awesome as well. One thing I want to share about him is in the Chinese summer LPL playoffs, they played Royal Club in 2 different BO5s. Both went to all 5 games. So 10 games against Royal Club. 28 of the 30 bans from Royal were aimed at Going. This is a scary, scary top laner who's going to pull out the Maokai and Alistar, but also carries like Jackson or Aurelia. It's going to be a lot of fun watching him play.
Yeah, we'll need to see if Going pulls out the Jax. Anyways, it is time to freeze the minions and head over to the Telestrator, where Monte Cristo is ready to dissect the mids in the laning phase.
Thank you, QuickShot. The aptly named Group of Death will undoubtedly see some fierce battles this week, and I believe whoever wins the mid lane will come out on top. So let's take a quick look at how I rank the 4 players who will be front and center for Group C. Number 4, it's going to be LMQ's Xiaowei Zhao. Despite this summer being his first split in the North American LCS, he led the league in kills by a mid laner and won the summer split most valuable player. That said, he is a very farm-dependent mid laner, and he has less playmaking ability than the other mids in this group. He's also not up against the toughest competition in North America. At number 3, we're going for Fnatic's X Peke. He is one of the top mid laners in Europe, and of course his name has become synonymous with backdooring a Nexus thanks to his famous Kassadin win. Although he is an assassin player and the meta is shifting back in his favor, he's overshadowed by the 2 other players in this group purely because of increased playmaking ability. Number 2 is going to be OMG's Cool. He did have a great showing at last year's Worlds, keeping up with Faker in lane and proving a lot of his abilities. He did tear through the group stage last year. It's going to be a little bit harder this year. He's the best mid laner in China. He kept up his performance throughout the LPL this year, and he really has hard carried his team. He got as many as 20 kills in a game in the playoffs in the LPL. And especially on OMG, they're a very solo lane dependent team. He is the rock that they kind of build their foundation on. But of course, with one top or mid laner left, that is going to be Dade in Group C, of course. Who's your Dade? He's at number 1. He is number 1 on this list because he has been to 3 consecutive Champions finals this year, 2 different teams, won a season MVP award, and he is an extremely dominant player in spite of his limited champion pool, to the degree that he has champions like Zed that he can pull out, that he has a 17-2 professional record on. It's pretty much a death sentence if you let him pick Zed. He did have a lackluster performance at Worlds last year, but he has returned to form. He's gotten even better, and I expect a much more impressive performance from him this year because he's probably the most consistent player in Korean history. So that's going to be the breakdown for Group C in the mid lane. I can't wait to keep my eyes on the matchups over the next 4 days. QuickShot, back to you, man.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that either. Thank you very much. That is a definitely powerful lineup of players that everyone will have to be watching. You've heard how Monte Cristo ranks the mid laners in Group C, but you don't have to agree with him. We'd like to know how you would stack up these mid laners. So head over to Twitter and tell us how you would rank them and why. Send your responses to @LOLesports along with the hashtag Worlds Preview. Now, one group of guys that absolutely agrees with Monty is his teammates on Samsung Blue. And even though the star mid laner left the world's battlefield early last year, this time around, Dade is determined to show the world why he's called the General.
네, 안녕하세요. 삼성 블루팀의 미드라이너를 맡고 있는 다데 배어진입니다. 저를 수식하는 여러 말들이 있죠. 인간 제드라던가 장군이라던가. 누가 먼저 시작한 건지 잘 모르겠지만 장군이라는 별명에 대해서 평소에 신경 쓰진 않습니다.
제 생각에 엄청나게 많이 의식하고 있는 것 같아요. 뜨거운 이제 여름날에도 자켓을 입고 있잖아요. 그런 게 보면은 망토 이렇게 들은 대장군 포스처럼 이렇게 느낌이 있으려고 걸음걸이도 약간 다가가면 한 대 맞겠다 이런 느낌의 풍채를 풍기면서 걷고. 다들 듣고 있네. 8강까지가 그때 당시 오존팀의 최고 성적이었는데 다데 선수가 들어오고 나서 바로 우승을 했고
MVP 미드 다데입니다.
다데 선수가 평소 연습 때보다 대회 때 거의 한 2배, 3배는 목소리도 크게 하고 말도 많이 해요. 그만큼 이기고 싶은 거죠. 누구보다도 더.
충격이었죠. 네, 롤드컵을 그렇게 빨리 탈락할 줄은 정말 몰랐고 제가 할 수 있었던 건 새로 준비한 그라가스와 리산드라였는데
제가 지금 와서 정말 냉철하게 분석을 하면 다데는 기본적으로 장군이기 때문에 칼 하나 정도는 들고 있어야 되는데 그라가스를 여러분 보세요. 굉장히 둔해 보이고 칼을 들고 있지도 않고 뭔가 뚜렷하게 잘생기지도 않았습니다. 당연히 질 수밖에 없었죠.
감독님의 속마음까진 모르겠지만 사실 굉장히 기분이 나빴습니다.
그때는 불러도 못하는 시절이었잖아요. 좌천됐다고 많이 느꼈을 것 같아요.
삼성 블루는 정확히 이 상황에서 어떻게 해야 되고 이런 부분에 대한 결정을 하는 사람이 없더라고요. 고민 끝에 바꾸게 됐죠.
처음에는 솔직히 서로 의견도 잘 안 맞고 많이 힘들어가지고 트러블도 많이 나고 그랬었는데 우리 장군님께서 딱 들어오시고 난 다음부터 한순간에 갑자기 우승, 마스터즈 우승 난리 났잖아요. 팀의 중심을 잡아주는 역할을 진짜 잘 수행해주고 있는 것 같아요.
그 한타 때 우리가 이거 이겨줘라는 판단을 다데 선수가 합니다. 냉철하게 보는 눈이 다네한테 있는 것 같아요.
뭐가 됐든 간에 블루에 와서 우승을 한 거고 결국 잘 되긴 했죠. 어떤 때나 미드라이너들을 거론할 때 제 이름이 빠지지 않는 그런 선수가 되고 싶어요. 한국에서는 제가 장군이라고 불리는데 외국 시청자분들께도 제가 왜 장군이라고 불리는지 똑똑히 알려드리겠습니다.
Wow, those are some strong words from Dade.
Yeah, Dade's a really interesting player. After or between games, a lot of the times when I'm casting at OGN, you see the players kind of get together and talk, have a little conversation in between matches. But Dade, Blue just kind of lets him go off by himself. He'll spend some alone time, walk outside, stand by himself, recollect himself before coming into the booth. Very intense player, very focused and self-reflective.
Yeah, definitely takes the game quite seriously. And, take away from that piece, he was saying he wants his name in the discussion when mid laners are being talked about, and he wants everyone else to ask, who's your Dade? Right, we've taken a look at the teams in Group C, and it is time to lay it on the line. So, gentlemen, which two teams do you think will be advancing to the quarterfinals and why? We're going to start with Monte Cristo. We know you're picking Samsung Blue. Who is the second team from this group to advance and why?
Well, realistically, everybody is going to pick Samsung Blue. It's really a battle for second place here. I don't think LMQ has what it takes, but OMG and Fnatic are a little bit closer. I'm going to take Fnatic here just because I think they can stack up a little bit in terms of the solo lanes, but the big difference is going to be Reckless and Yellowstar, who I think will be dominant in the bottom lane. Sun and Dada have not been looking too good over the course of the last few weeks of the LPL and the regionals, and that's going to be the difference.
Well, talking about the AD carries, Double Lift, you're next on my hit list. Who are your two teams advancing and why?
Well, Samsung Blue is the obvious number one, but I think I'm going to surprise some people by picking Fnatic as my number two. I'm a huge Reckless fanboy, actually. I've been talking to him on and off for like a year or so. And I just feel like Fnatic's solo laners have always been the kind of players to step up when it actually matters. It is a battle for second place between Fnatic and OMG for me, but Fnatic's the clear number two.
Crepo, predictions, 1 and 2. Who's it going to be and why?
Yeah, I'm definitely going with Blue first. I mean, everything has been mentioned already, but the battle for second place is going to be really interesting. I think OMG has one of the better, if not the best, solo laners combined as a pairing outside of Korea. But then again, like Xpeke and Soaz will be able to hold their own, while their bot lane should just outmatch OMG's bot lane completely. Barring any upset or just swings from LMQ, Fnatic should be the second team in this group.
All right, so Phreak, is it going to be a clean sweep? Is it Blue and Fnatic all down the line?
No, so of course, yes, Samsung Blue, right? I can repeat what you guys said, but you guys got it right. My second team is going to be OMG, though. I think OMG is stronger. Remember, this is basically the same team that went to Worlds last year. The only games they even lost were to the number 1 and number 2 teams at the World Championship last year. Like, OMG had an unfortunately short run in Season 3, but they're incredibly strong. Cool is ridiculous. I think everyone's going to know his name, maybe even more so than Dada because he is the carry here. And so it's going to be fun to watch OMG.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they perform. And just food for thought, Fnatic did not look too great at the EU playoffs. Right, we would like to turn back the dial a full year and time travel to the Season 3 World Championship, but without the aid of a DeLorean, a British police box, or an excellent adventure. We're going to rely on the brawn of your brains.
So in other words, let's see how well you guys remember those games from last year with a little Worlds trivia. Rack your gray matter and see if you can remember who was the most played champion during the 2013 World Championship.
Yeah, tweet your answers to us at LOL Esports with the hashtag Worlds Preview, and we'll see what your memories are made of and check out your answers on the next preview show. Now, let's go back to the future and shift our